Hello everyone, and welcome to BoxTalk. Before we dive into today's topic, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and leave a like to support our work. Here on BoxTalk, you get clear, objective, and honest analysis about everything that happens in the world of Formula One. And today's story is one that shook the entire paddock: McLaren's disqualification from the Las Vegas Grand Prix. A decision that erased a strong result, changed the standings overnight, and reopened the fight for the 2025 World Championship. If you follow F1 closely, you know this wasn't just another penalty. It was a turning point. In this video, we're going to break down exactly what happened, why it happened, what McLaren knew before the race, and how this technical failure could end up deciding the championship. So stick with me, because the details matter and the implications are huge. Let's start right after the checkered flag in Las Vegas. On track, McLaren had delivered one of its strongest performances of the season. Lando Norris finished second, Oscar Piastri came home in the top positions, and the team looked set to extend its lead in the championship fight. Everything pointed to a perfect night under the lights of the strip. But a few hours after the celebration, everything flipped. During routine post-race inspections, the FIA found irregularities on both cars, specifically on the plank underneath the floor. In Formula One, this plank must maintain a minimum thickness of 9 millimeters by the end of the race. It's a strict rule, designed to prevent teams from running their cars too low and gaining illegal aerodynamic advantage. The measurements told the story. Norris's plank came in below the minimum thickness, Piastri's too. It wasn't a question of interpretation or context, it was a factual violation. And with this specific regulation, the FIA operates under zero tolerance. If the car fails the measurement, the car is illegal. No excuses, no mitigating circumstances. The penalty is automatic: disqualification. Just like that, both McLarens were removed from the results. All points earned in the race were wiped. And with that, the championship picture changed dramatically.
But the situation gets even more interesting and more controversial when we look at what insiders began revealing in the days that followed. Reports indicated that McLaren already had signs before the race that the plank wear could become a serious risk. Data from simulations, ride height models, and even feedback from earlier sessions suggested the car was operating extremely close to the minimum allowed height. And yet, the team decided not to raise the car. Why? Performance. Running the car lower means more downforce, better stability, more grip. In F1, a single millimeter can be worth a few tenths per lap, and tenths decide championships. McLaren was pushing to maximize its advantage. But that decision crossed the line, literally. This raises an important question. Is it worth it for a title-contending team to gamble with a setup this risky, especially when the consequences are absolute? After the penalty became official, McLaren released its explanation. Team principal Andrea Stella stated that the issue stemmed from unexpected levels of vertical oscillation, the notorious bouncing or porpoising effect during the race. According to him, the car oscillated more violently in the Grand Prix than it did in any of the practice sessions, leading to the plank contacting the track much more than expected. In theory, that's plausible. The Las Vegas circuit is unique. Long straights, uneven surfaces, shifting grip levels, and temperature swings throughout the night can create unpredictable behavior. A car that feels stable in practice may behave differently over a full race distance. But even with that explanation, many analysts remain skeptical. Other teams faced the same track conditions, and none failed the post-race inspection. That alone suggests that McLaren either underestimated the risk or simply didn't adjust the car enough to stay within the regulations. And the hardest part, the drivers had nothing to do with it. Norris and Piastri delivered their performances cleanly. They followed strategy. They executed. The failure was technical, not driver-related. Imagine finishing a strong race and later discovering all of your effort was erased because the car was set too aggressively. That kind of blow impacts not just the standings, it affects confidence.
Now, let's talk about consequences, because this penalty reshaped the championship. Before Las Vegas, Norris held a comfortable lead in the standings. Piastri was close behind, and Verstappen still had a mathematical chance but wasn't as immediate a threat. With McLaren's original finishing positions, Norris would have strengthened his path to the title, and the team could start thinking about securing the Constructors' Championship as well. But after the disqualification, Norris fell back to 390 points, while Piastri dropped to 366, the same as Verstappen. And suddenly, with only 2 races left, 58 points still on the table, the championship is wide open. Piastri himself admitted that he now needs a bit of luck to stay in the fight. He hasn't won a race since the Dutch GP earlier in the season, and losing points in Las Vegas puts him in a position where he must deliver perfect weekends in Qatar and Abu Dhabi. For Norris, the pressure is enormous. He keeps the lead, but a reduced lead. Any mistake, mechanical problem, or strategic error in the remaining races could cost him the world title. For Verstappen, the opportunity is right in front of him. He went from being a distant rival to a legitimate title threat again, all because of McLaren's technical error. When you put it all together, it's astonishing how something as small as the thickness of a plank, a few tenths of a millimeter, can rewrite an entire championship narrative. But beyond the drama and numbers, this situation forces us to ask deeper questions about how teams operate under pressure. Formula One is a sport of precision. Margins are razor thin. Engineers constantly push the boundaries to extract every fraction of performance possible. But there's a difference between pushing the limits and crossing them. Did McLaren push too far? Was the setup an acceptable risk? Or was it the wrong call at the wrong time? And another point worth reflecting on, how does this affect the internal dynamic between Norris and Piastri? For most of the season, the team has tried to balance both drivers' ambitions while managing a tight, competitive environment. Now, both of them have been penalized equally, despite doing nothing wrong on track. Does this make them more united or more frustrated? And what about the engineering department? Will they adopt a more conservative approach now, or continue being aggressive in the search for performance? The truth is, teams only learn when mistakes hurt, and this one hurt a lot.
Let's also look briefly at the nature of the Las Vegas circuit. Many drivers reported bumps, unpredictable grip conditions, and unusual vertical loads during the weekend. All of this contributes to the plank wearing faster than expected. But again, every team faced the same conditions. Only McLaren exceeded the limit. That's why the FIA's stance is non-negotiable. Regulations are there for a reason. A car running lower than allowed gains a real aerodynamic advantage. If the FIA allowed discretion here, teams would exploit it immediately. Strict enforcement ensures fairness. This isn't the first time a team got caught by plank wear, and it won't be the last. But it is one of the most consequential examples in recent memory because it directly affects the championship outcome. So let's recap what happened in the simplest way. McLaren was disqualified because both cars finished the race with plank thickness below the legal minimum. The team likely knew the setup was risky before the race. Their explanation claims unexpected bouncing caused excessive wear. Regardless of intention, the FIA applied the rule as written. The penalty erased crucial points. And now, with only 2 rounds left, the championship is more open than ever. And that brings us to the key question. Was this simply a technical mistake or a strategic gamble that went wrong? Should McLaren prioritize safety and reliability over the final bit of performance? Should a title-contending team ever take such a risk? If you were in the team's position, what would you have done? I want to hear your thoughts. Leave your opinion in the comments below. This is one of the most fascinating debates of the season. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to BoxTalk for more in-depth F1 coverage. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next analysis.